It's a strawberry s'more cake waffle. Hope James will enjoy it today.
It's not quite, well, it's sunrise. It's been sunrise for quite a while, but it's not really piercing through the deck.
Oh, you lost a strawberry there.
I know.
That's too bad. Anyway, I'm
just
this
blanket I was trying to arrange?
Yeah. I'm just having hot lemon and honey. And again, my strawberry s'more cake waffle is a work of art. And I would like it recognized as such. So, since I am the artist, I encourage people to try to make replicas at home for their families, for their loved ones to enjoy. But if you are making replicas of my art, then please don't pass it off as your own creation. It's not.
It's copyright.
This is my art. And the food is my medium. So
it's a visual art as well as
yes.
Taste and smell
art. This
art.
is more creative than anything Jeff Koons has come up with.
Well, visual artists just deal with the visual. They don't deal with all the factory and with the taste buds.
So
plus their stuff is useless. Really.
Yeah.
This stuff is nutritious. So
well, s'more cake.
The s'mores aren't, but you've got beets in it.
Yeah.
The strawberries are, apples are. Is this rye or oats? It looks
this
like
one's
rye.
oat
It's
flour,
oat. It doesn't really show.
And coconut. It adds a lot of coconut in it. But the thing that I did is, normally to make this waffle, it'd be better just to put coconut and oat flour together and make a normal sort of waffle. But I had carrot chai on the the strained bits from carrot chai. So I had coconut in there, and so the coconut mixed with the carrot darkened it up. And I had a little bit of beet stuff left over to use too, so that darkened it up too. So normally strawberry s'more cake waffle the waffle would be whiter, and it would be better to use green apples around
for the color.
Yes,
exactly right, but we're just using what comes off the tree.
Yes, the tree right now has provided red, so that is what we're using.
It's attractive enough to attract the attention of passers-by. A couple of fellows come.
Yes, the tree is very
wanting
attractive
to pick
right
a few.
Yeah.
The other day.
And they did ask.
They did.
I'll give them credit for that. But mind you, we were sitting here, so had we not been here,
I think they stopped and didn't realize, they were going to pick, and then they saw we were here.
And
improvised.
And I said, I said no, we use them ourselves.
Yeah,
but
which we do.
Then I directed him to public apple trees to pick. But
that's right. They were on bikes, so
the one guy didn't even want to listen to me after I said no, and he left. Yeah. And the other guy just glared at me like,
"Hey, you're bumming my trip, man.
You should have given us the apples or whatever." But I mean, just go to a public tree. There's lots of public apples that nobody's going to use, and I use mine. And frankly, I hate it when people come pick my apples because I can't reach very high in the tree. My ladder doesn't even go high enough to get all the apples out of the tree, and I can't shake the apple tree because it has heart rot all through it, so I'll break my tree if I try to harvest that way. So the only stuff I can get is the stuff nearest to the bottom, which is the stuff that people want to pick. So they want to pick the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to the work. So why would... No, I only have so much, and I use all that comes off of it. So.
And the stuff that's a little bit higher...
I even use the stuff that hits the ground.
The stuff that's a little bit higher, it's best if it's only people who have a stake in that tree. Because what happens is they start bending the branches down, from the cherry tree. And they do it with the apple tree, right? So it's best if someone who has a stake in it, a long-term stake in it, and only that person really handles it. So we know from the cherry tree, people will break branches off.
Yeah.
I don't think they really intend to, but that happened. Who cares? I'll be back next year. Maybe I don't really have a stake in this.
Yeah, I mean, people who have an orchard or whatever, they have a financial stake in it, and they want to take care of their things just so that they can.
Exactly.
But I mean, that only goes so far. For me, the plants that are a part of my life, they're my family.
I have personality. So this tree, it gives and it gives. It's been around. I get the feeling for almost wherever. Maybe as long as this house has been here.
Probably.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So it's got heart rot.
It had heart rot when I moved in, and that was 20 years ago. And most people would have just taken it out because they would have figured, it's going anyway. Well, it lasted 20 years. And I wanted to that's what I wanted to talk about today, actually. The tree reminded me of it. So they're doing triage, and apparently here in Alberta.
That's not for trees. It's not triage for trees. Okay.
This reminded me of it. So anyway, the triage. They're doing triage
you were making
here in
a
Alberta.
pun
No.
on triage.
No, I'm not.
It's a good segue, though.
Anyway, so apparently how they're doing it is they're looking at the life expectancy of the people coming in. So if they figure you only have a year to live or less, they're not going to give you the treatment.
They'll just kick you out on the street.
Yeah,
if you got COVID. Wow.
So
doesn't matter if you've got 2 jabs, you've been going around double masking, social distancing.
Doesn't matter. That's what they're going by right now. This is the first triage decision that they've made. This is, it's going to go from here. Who knows how they're going to.
We don't know how many variations they're going to be.
April.
We don't know how many variations they're going to be, how serious they're going to be, and how catchy they're going to be.
Yeah. And at the same time, there's a couple of, I don't know if you heard about, what was in Edson? Was it in Edson where they had the COVID party?
Edson, shame on you for having skunks like that.
They wanted to,
they had a COVID party.
The people wanted to catch COVID so that they could develop an immunity to it.
What? Do you develop an immunity to flu?
That will give you pretty much the same sort of thing without all the high risk to yourself and everyone else.
Yeah, I don't care if you commit suicide, but don't take other people with you. That's absolutely shameful.
Apparently, there's a couple of the people from that Edson COVID party that are in ICU. So
that's according to CBC. I don't know if it's true.
Are gonna get triaged out of there, so that those people that are in ICU that were from the COVID party can get treatment. That's not fair. How is
Absolutely
that fair?
Not. We've got people getting kicked away from hospitals who need some diagnostics, all this sort of stuff. They'd have cancer, whatever.
And how is it fair that the people involved in policy making in Alberta aren't at the bottom of the triage list?
They should be too. Jason Kenney should be right at the ninth circle of hell. That's stupid.
Well, especially the medical politicians.
Adina Hinshaw should be in the ninth circle of hell too. It's not the ninth circle of hell doesn't have to be exclusively populated by just one idiot.
But anyway, so what I wanted to comment on was the doctors determining the life expectancy of people and giving them triage according to that. Now, when you finally were diagnosed with cancer, how much time did they give you?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. And that was with
chemo.
The chemo. That's what his life expectancy was, because he was so far gone.
You never can tell.
And how long ago was that?
That was over 10 years ago.
Yeah. So
doctors are going to be making life and death decisions.
Exactly. Sometimes,
and where they don't want to.
Sometimes they, it was their fault that he didn't get diagnosed.
The doctors,
and
the general practitioners, the people the specialists who treated me generally treated me royally.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to say about that. You can connect
Put
the dots from
people who are doing the anti-masking, anti-vaccine demonstrations without having the vaccines, obviously, and without exercising, without having masks on, and without exercising social distancing, or social distancing. What do they call it now?
There's no incentive for younger people or people who presumably have a longer life expectancy. There's no incentive for them to behave responsibly and care about other people.
And ultimately, possibly about themselves. There's no guarantee this thing won't take a huge left turn or right turn and go after, as the Spanish flu did, selectively after people who have strong immune systems. That's what happened. And that was the second wave. We've been lucking out, I'm afraid. Do some reading, you stupid idiots. All this sort of stuff. I'm going to get immunity off this. You're not going to really get long-term immunity off the vaccines. You don't with regular flu vaccines. Why would this be any different? It's insane when they talk about booster shots. They should be saying, we'll have to redo this whole thing every year. That's what they have to do with flu. Why would it be any different? Why would it be like something, I think smallpox, you get an immunity if you've had it. Why would it be like that?
Now, having said that, strawberry s'more cake, maybe not the best thing to eat during a pandemic.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. But
I'm in a fairly good mood despite all this stupid stuff. Incidentally, go on. You wanted to make a point. Finish it up.
Sugar lowers your immunity.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
So if you have a sweet tooth, go for fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, yes, there are sugars in it, but there's also a whole bunch of healthy things to help boost your immunity too. So they're not the same thing. It's not the same eating marshmallows as eating strawberries.
Yeah.
They're both sweet and yummy, but you're better off with the strawberries.
Yeah. So before we get away from the COVID party idea.
Okay.
Or, I don't know, what were they doing up in Edson? You think it was a COVID orgy? That's the next step for these idiots. Hey, we're having a COVID orgy. Come on down. Oh, yeah.
Everyone's kissing each other.
Yep. Hugging each other, doing whatever. Getting real close and personal. So they can get that, they don't have to get that jab.
I really hope that the people from the Edson COVID party that are in ICU live so that they can stand charges for murder of however many people had to get triaged out and died while they were sitting in ICU beds. I hope that really happens. I hope some
all this stuff should be a felony. It's awful.
Of the people who die get together and form a class action lawsuit against the people from the COVID party. Honestly.
It's got to be, at the very least, manslaughter.
Yeah, because honestly, these jerks from the COVID party...
And that's an understatement.
So they decide, okay, we're going to try to catch COVID so we can develop... Why did they go to ICU then? Why did they go to the hospital afterwards? They're so gung-ho on...
Stick with your beliefs.
Plan.
Yeah.
So...
Hey, man, I got something. I know COVID doesn't exist.
Well, these ones knew that it exists.
I know.
Or they, they just figured they'd get it.
This was happening,
really
though,
good
down in the
immunity.
southern United States. Help me, I got something wrong with me. I don't know. I know COVID doesn't exist, so I know it can't be that, but help me.
And it's also funny that the Alberta government was appealing to the federal government for help.
One day after the election.
Yeah. And because, of course, they didn't want to make it look like...
they were totally incompetent.
Which
and
they are.
I'm begging to the Liberals for something they wouldn't necessarily get from their... the Aaron O'Toole, if he were in power.
Well, I think he would have taken care of his own. They tend to. But...
They tend to, yeah.
In any case, we think that the United Conservative Party should now be called the United COVID Party. And just call it that. All the time when you refer to the Conservatives, say United COVID Party.
They should try to keep the Wild Rose Party in there. So it should be the WCP. Not the UCP, but the WCP or WCP. And what would that be? The Wild COVID Party. Because that's what you are, you stupid. The supporters of that party and especially the people running it and Alberta into the ground. You are the WCP, not the UCP. You're the WCP, the Wild COVID Party. You stupid idiots. I went to a demonstration the other day. I think it was 2 days ago, not yesterday, at the City Hall.
I don't believe you should do.
But it's dangerous, not because of the COVID, because I was masked. I was the only masked person there. And one of the few that was maintaining social distancing.
But it's my fault,
and it was a Chinook day.
I told you about it. No. You wouldn't have even went had I not said, oh, yeah.
Well, it was enlightening, I got to say. It was a Chinook day, and I was upwind. So, talked to a couple of people. They were pretty nice, So, talked to a woman there. Her sign said something like, freedom of choice. So I said, yeah, I believe you should have freedom of choice, but you should not be allowed to go into the hospitals. Oh, yeah. She's so sure that, she's not going to catch it, right? She was just saying, yeah, that sounds like really great.
That sounds fair for her. Okay.
So, they should, be asked to sign something, like if they get caught at a demonstration like that. I will not access not just the ICU thing, any hospital, any medical facility paid for by the taxpayers. Yeah. And create your own little clinics or whatever. So I was talking to one guy. I feel for the guy. I really feel for the guy. He's been triggered. Are you hearing that, you faux gauchers? Or you faux gauchers? Or you faux gauches? He was triggered. Now, how was he triggered? You see, like you guys are going, triggered by language. Oh my God, people got to put up with the N-word and this sort of thing. And I don't want to lay the N-word on anyone. Partly because I'm part African American. But, what I was taught when I was a kid, and there might be some truth to it, is sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can never hurt me. I think they can be hurtful. But the kind of triggering this guy was talking about was, he was against, as I am, equality of outcomes. I believe in equality of outcomes. Get on the stick and do your homework, and you'll get something like an equality of outcome. It's up to you as an individual. When faux gauchers, whatever you want to call them, when they start talking about equality of outcomes in place of equality of opportunity, the way they were talking when I was a kid, what that suggests to me is equality of opportunity has been achieved, and it's not working out for certain people.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work out for certain people, that's on them.
Cultures have consequences.
Cultures have consequences.
If you don't respect
learning,
you won't learn.
You won't learn. So when you look at a certain group in the United States putting in much less time than Oriental people. And I'm talking about white people. They don't get the results.
No, and it has consequences for other people in society too. I mean, we're having a lot of problems now, or maybe more so in the United States, but with Asian people not feeling that America has equal opportunity for them. And why would that be? When they're working really hard to get high grades so that they can get into institutions like Harvard,
Stanford,
or Princeton, and they're
there's
getting...
a lot on the West Coast. So Stanford's like in the Bay Area, so yeah, around Silicon Valley. So yeah, Stanford's the one where...
I mean?
Yeah.
And then they're getting, other people from other ethnic backgrounds are getting the spots in universities that really should be going to the Asian people that were working hardest to achieve the grades to get in there.
I was looking at a study from over roughly a generation ago, I think a little bit more than a generation ago, and it showed, I suspect it was almost like a direct correlation between the grades that you got on your SATs, that's to get you into university in the United States, and the amount of homework you did as a high school student. So I was mentioning whiteys. Whiteys don't get the grades on average that East Asians do. And they shouldn't be allowed into university on as tokens. If they don't get the grades on the SATs, they should go to junior college or whatever the equivalent is down in the United States, or go to a lesser university. But this study showed that Hispanics and blacks, it didn't actually even give the figures, but it said they were substantially lower than what even whiteys did. And whiteys are lazy when it comes to homework. So what the hey?
And I am all for adult students going back to university and stuff like that, being able to go get into universities, because a lot of the time people, kids, especially if you're a passive person, you're going to be swayed by aggressive people. And it's going to be more fun for you to do whatever they're doing in high school than what you should be doing, which is studying. But eventually, if you're a passive person, you will get back and pull up your socks and get to work or whatever. So I'm all for adults going back to university, and once you're ready for that. If you weren't in high school and you weren't getting the grades in high school, well, then you can work at it, and there's nothing stopping people from just because you didn't want to learn at one point in your life, you can decide to change and learn later. So
you're going to have to put the hours in.
You'll have to put the time in, that's all.
I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old, plus 20. 23 years old. That's when most guys are giving it up if they played at a university, and they've given it up a couple of years or 3 years by the time they hit college. I put in huge whacks of time. And it tended to be not, I'm going to put extra time. Like if I were going, not so much to work because I would be on the schedule, but from work, I'd walk home and I'd just dribble a soccer ball. Was that a couple of blocks? It was a mile and a half. Dribble a soccer ball. And things like that. I put in probably thousands of hours as an adult. You're going to have to work. It's not as though you're going to say, hey, I haven't done the work, and then now it's just going to come to me automatically. Then when it comes to you, that kind of almost automatic reading, if you're under 6 or under 3 years old or under 1 year old or whatever it is, when people learn languages, kids.